Anyway, I got a surprise topic for you, Matt.
Yes.
We're going to play some ominous music, maybe. Depends on if I find any that's actually good, post-editing. But basically, have you heard of the Japanese cube personality test?
No.
This is going to be interesting. Then.
Okay.
All you folks at home in your cars doing whatever.
Play along
because you don't have to be here. It's all audible. And I think BuzzFeed did a video of this not too long ago, and it's getting a lot of buzz. So we're gonna do this, right? And it's pretty interesting. So basically, clear your mind, and I'm going to say things, and you're going to think about it. And in the end, we're going to know what these things mean. If you're driving, please don't close your eyes. Anyway, you're walking alone in the desert, and you come across a cube. How big is the cube? By the way, don't answer any of this until I tell you. How big is the cube? What color is this cube? How does the color make you feel? Can you see inside the cube? How big is the cube compared to the desert? You also see a ladder. Is the ladder leaning on the cube? What color is the ladder? What is the distance between the cube and the ladder? You see a horse. What is the distance between the cube and the horse? What color is this horse? Is the horse tied up or is it roaming freely? Is the horse wearing a saddle? There's a storm. What is the distance between the storm and the cube? Is the size of the storm big or is it small? Is the storm passing by or staying in place? Is it violent thunder, lightning, or calm and light rain? You see a flower. Is there only one flower or is there many flowers? Where is the flower and what is it next to? Or flowers? What color are the flower? Parentheses S, parentheses. Got all that?
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. So for those at home, like I said, you can listen to that too. This is weird. But the cube, I'm just going to read this. The cube represents you and how you see yourself in the world. If the cube is transparent, that means that people can see right through you. The material the cube is made of represents feelings and how tough of a front you put up. The size of the cube compared to the desert represents your ego. If the cube is large in comparison to the desert, you probably think highly of yourself. Maybe not in a negative way. What was your cube, Matt?
It was like a 1 by 1 by 1 foot.
Makes sense. You don't have a big ego.
Mm-mm.
We always make fun of people who have big egos.
Right.
What was it transparent?
No.
What was it?
It was the color?
Yeah.
It was red and blue.
Red and blue. That's
yes.
Interesting. When I did this test, I'll tell you what I did because I did the video version of this.
Okay.
But obviously that wouldn't work on an audio podcast. When I did it, my cube was like 20 feet tall.
Oh, wow.
Floating three feet in the air. This one doesn't talk about it, but if the cube is off the ground, it's more like you're not as grounded. I guess maybe you're in La La Land, things like that. So it makes sense because I'm always in this imaginary worlds in my head and stuff. The cube was solid metal. So, yeah, no one's seeing right through me. Anyway, that was my cube. So the ladder represents your friends. If the ladder is leaning on the cube, your friends tend to lean on you for support. The distance between the cube and the ladder shows how close you are to friends.
Yeah, okay.
Good or bad? Or accurate or not accurate?
I'd say not because I pictured a sand dune and it was probably about 10 feet away and it was leaning on the sand dune.
Yeah.
So.
Fair enough. I mean, I guess that means like could a friend, if they came up to you and let's just not say you're close friends, or maybe so. I don't know. However you want to answer it.
Right.
If they need to like borrow money or they needed a ride somewhere on some weird day for no reason. You know what I mean? Like, would you do these things?
Yeah. But, honestly, now that you say it, I'm not really confronted with that
maybe that's why it was far away.
I'm not really, I don't know, presented with anything like that though. I mean, yeah, if I need to help, like if you wanted me to, I think I actually offered to come help the furniture out of the baby's room to get it painted or something like that. So
yeah, I think it's one of those things where maybe you will tell people, but if you don't bring it up, it's never brought up to you.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Maybe that's why your ladder was far away.
Right.
Or not really that far away. It's not like it was far away.
No.
Another interesting thing, because I didn't really pay attention to this too much when I read this version of it, but in the other one, it was talking about the material of the ladder, what it was made out of. And it was something about, I don't know, how trustworthy or whatever you are with your friends. I don't remember what it was, but there was another part of this. Okay. So there's multiple versions of this quiz. So at that point, I'm not going to say any of the other things. My ladder was leaning directly on the cube as it floated in the air. And I feel like the more I thought about it, I do a lot to help other people. Like, I don't feel like other people lean on me for support. I just immediately support them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I do things to help out other people. Like, I don't know, somebody wanted to start a paint miniatures one day and I gave them a bunch of stuff.
Right.
Stuff like that. So pretty interesting to interpret. Mm-hmm. Next thing is the horse. The horse represents your lover, or represents you lover or ideal lover. It's typo. The horse represents your ideal lover. The distance between the horse and the cube represents the closeness you have with the current lover. If your horse is tied up, then it shows you need to be controlling in a relationship. If the horse is saddled, then you feel safe with them. If the horse is free and not saddled, it means that your view of the lover is uncontrollable or unpredictable.
Okay.
How accurate was that? If you want to answer.
No, I'll answer. It was off in the distance a little bit. It wasn't like so far I couldn't see it, but I could like make out a lot of details on it.
Okay.
But it was tied and it had a saddle.
Gotcha. Mine was too, and it was right next to the ladder.
Okay.
So maybe I'll support the horse. All right. The storm. The storm represents an obstacle or stress in your life. If the storm is passing, the issue is current with a resolution in the near future. If the storm is staying put, it has an ongoing obstacle in your life with no resolution in sight. The size of the storm represents how big of an obstacle or how much stress this is, as does the distance. The farther away the storm is, the less important to you, or less importance you place on this stress. If the storm is violent, it means the obstacle is causing quite some grief.
Gotcha.
How was your storm?
It was pretty far away. I mean, I could see it coming and I could make out the size of it pretty decent, but it wasn't like so far away that it was like, I think there might be a storm. I could see a storm. The weird thing is I pictured, because it was in the desert, it was a sandstorm. I didn't really.
Oh, weird. That is not described in this article.
I didn't picture lightning or rain because we're in a desert. So
fair enough.
I saw like just, a big sandstorm.
What about stress in your life? Does that kind of coincide? Like there's not a whole lot of stress and you see it kind of in the distance?
I'd say so, yeah. I mean, I can usually deal with stress pretty decent. I think it's just because I've always had the motto, if you can't control it, don't worry about it.
Fair enough. I agree. My storm was above. It was right above me. So maybe it's some stress, probably maybe baby related. I don't know.
Right.
But it was like the clouds are slightly gray and it's slightly raining and you hear a little bit of thunder because, that's what I pictured actually. But for real, I didn't, I don't have a lot of stress. Nothing really stresses me out. So maybe that's why.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was pretty accurate, I think. And let's see. I guess the flowers, it really doesn't say in here. The other one says the flowers, how many kids you want to have. How many flowers did you think of?
I saw one.
You saw one?
So I've already got two.
Yeah, inaccurate.
Inaccurate.
This one's a little bit different, though, because it does tell you about the color. What color was your...
It was actually pink and yellow.
Well, here's yellow. Let's do yellow. I don't get this part of the quiz, but whatever. So anyway, you can check that out. You can just type in Japanese or 5-minute personality test. The Cube is what this one's called. Or you can go on BuzzFeed, probably on YouTube, BuzzFeed, and just type in the cube. I think I just typed in the cube in YouTube and found this.
Gotcha.
So I thought it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's neat. What's the big, freak out about it? It's probably big extremes on both sides. Oh, it's perfect. It nailed
like
it
the
exactly.
response.
Yeah.
I think most people are agreeing with it.
Really?
But anything with interpretation, you can find a way to make it fit.
Right.
Like the whole ladder thing, like you said, it's off in the distance, but then we made up this whole thing or not made up, but like maybe you don't present these options to people so they don't know to lean on you. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's why the ladder's out there. But then some people can say, well, if you're sticking straight to the rules, if the ladder's not on there, they can't lean on you.
Yeah. I mean, that's like with any kind of dream interpretation, you can make it be,
that's pretty much what this is.
As surface as you want it to be, or it can just go deep, deep, deep. And it takes you about 5 steps to get to what you think it might be.
Yeah, exactly. So pretty cool test though.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yep.